Hello, my Lavender Luna babies. Long time no chat, right? I know, guys. I have been MIA.
Hey, I'm MIA.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, guys, I know I've been MIA, okay? I posted on my TikTok. I posted a quick little snippet video about why I do what I do, why I indulge in what I indulge. So if you guys want to go check that out, definitely go check out my TikTok. It's the same name as my YouTube channel. But girls and guys and gents, mainly girls, I went to a trip. And then after that, I just kind of was facing a little bit of depression, anxiety, you know. A lot of stuff going on in the world, and I just feel like it can be really overwhelming. So cut me slack, okay? But I came back and I'm better than ever, and I got me a camera locked in. My sister got me a mic, okay? So we're gonna really get to it. Don't play, because I really enjoy doing this for you guys, and I really enjoy doing it. Period. For me, it gives me something to do. And honestly, going back over my books that I read, it's so fun. Like, it's so freaking fun. But anyways, let's get into what we're getting to today, guys. So guess what we're talking about today. Take a guess. I'll wait. We are going over, can I get a drum roll, please? We are going over Satan's Affair. Yay! Hi, come here. She's like, what are you talking to? She always does this. So yes, guys, we are going over Satan's Affair. What I plan on doing is going over, because I already went over Haunting Adeline. I plan on going over Hunting Adeline. But I was like, let's go ahead and do Satan's Affair in between time. You know, get the little in between book. It's a perfect book for what happened in between Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. So I got y'all. Y'all go ahead and lock in. And you already know what I'm about to do before we start chatting about this book, okay? Let's indulge together. Guys, I was debating, I was like, should I start talking about like my blends? Because I do mix my stuff up with some special herbs, different things, depending on my mood, depending on the day. The OGs know, I started off not even smoking this. I smoked rose, lavender, herbs that are good for you, herbs that are healing, herbs that are calming, herbs. So y'all don't ever do or try the herbs, okay? Y'all, Satan's Affair is definitely trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. A lot of talk about SA, cults, religion, you know, all those things. So just be very trigger warned, okay? If you are very triggered, easily triggered, definitely don't watch this, because it's a lot. And it's a book, so it's obviously fantasy, but a lot of this stuff happens in real life, so it can be very triggering. You guys like my new bong? My bestie got it for me. It's literally so cute, and y'all, it glows in the dark. I'll insert a video right here. It glows in the dark. It's so freaking cute. She really did her biggest one. But she didn't even get it for my birthday. She just got it for me. And I was like, oh my god, early birthday present. She was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, oh, here. When I took my trip to Vegas, it was so fun. Spent so much money, and I lost 10 pounds. I was walking 8 miles a day. Alright, put this to the side. Now let's really get into the tea for real. Okay, so like I said, very, very, very strong, hard trigger warnings. Okay, so we start off with the main character. Her name is Sybil. Sybil. I really hope that I'm saying her name right. I'm pretty sure it's Sybil. I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna call her City, because that's her nickname. She is described as a dark-haired, early 20s woman. She's very slim. She gives off the perfect, like, horror theme vibe. Like, what I'm thinking about is like The Grudge, you know, but like without the hair face, you know. But like, they never really describe too much about her face because she does have doll makeup on. The setting of this story is at a haunted theme park. Maybe she works at a haunted house and a doll. Like, she works at a haunted doll house, and she lives in the walls of that haunted doll house. This theme park is a traveling theme park. So like, if you watched my other one about Haunting Adeline, they go to Satan's Affair, which is a horror theme park. So, more about City. She has her 5 henchmen. Now these henchmen's names are Artist, Bane, it's Cronus, Jackal, and Timothy. And I low-key love the names of them. I don't know. I'm like low-key wondering, like, where do these names come from? So those are her 5 henchmen. So she had escaped from this sex, basically a pedophilic religious cult run by her dad. His name was Leonard. I think it's like Dubois or something. That was her father's name. Kiss, move. That was her father's name. And she was more of the resilient child, you know? She was the one that fought back the most, if that makes sense. So she escaped from this religious sex cult by killing her father. So let's go over how this happened. And she kind of explains it throughout the story, but obviously for storytelling purposes, we're going to explain it right now. She, like I said, was living in this religious cult with her father and her mother. Her mother was a very young woman. She was kind of just small and frail. More so, I feel like how Sibby describes her is more so just like a weak, scared woman, you know? And not saying like weak in a bad way, but she genuinely was just a small, scared woman, you know? But Sibby, one of the big altercations that she had mentioned was that her mother had died from suicide and she had killed her dad. So the situation that arose this was Sibby had spoke back to her father, and they do a nightly routine, and it's disgusting. Her father, Leonard, calls it draining God's nectar from him. And I'm sure you guys can understand what that means. It is oral essay. One of Sibby's things was she was supposed to help with that, basically. She was refusing to help with the nightly routine, basically. He had punched the table and stabbed her hand with a fork. And Sibby, no reaction. And this goes to speak how long this abuse has been going on for. She, no reaction. She continues to eat her food. Obviously, she's a kid, so she's crying, but she's not, crying like, she's not being like, oh, like, she just continues to eat her food, Later on, she sees that her mom is gone for 8 days. She comes back and she's bruised and beaten, showing Sibby that she basically got the punishment for what Sibby had done. So her mother comes into the room and tells her, like, hey, like, she shows her this knife, and Sibby's like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Which is so sad, because that goes to show how much of life she has not been able to see, That pretty knife was the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. Like, what? So she takes the knife, and her mother basically tells her that you're the only one strong enough to fight back, You're the only one strong enough to handle him. And they go to sleep cuddling, and for what it was for Sibby is she was just holding her mom all night, looking at her mom all night. But she didn't know that her mom was dead. Her mom had taken ricin before she came into the room and gave her the knife. And she died that night. And that morning, Sibby did what she was supposed to do, and she killed her father. It doesn't get too much into how she killed him. Obviously, she stabbed him. But, yeah, and she escapes that cult. And that's kind of like her backstory about her parents and, where she comes from. She finds a home at this haunted house because she fits in, she can be a scary person and not reap the repercussions for it. Oh, we start off with Sibby, and she is straddling a man and stabbing him. So she mentions that, like, the smell of rotten egg, it basically is how she sniffs out the evil people. She sniffs out the demons, is the smell. She smells them. So, like, for example, she smelled like someone like me, I'm a good person. And she would smell like flowers and butterflies, just smell good floral perfume, what you can think of that smells really good. And if she smelled like, let's say a murderer, she would smell rotten eggs. She just internally has that smelldar to her. But, like, honestly, she was right most of the time. So, like, I really can't even cap. Like, I'm not even about to be like, oh, she was probably crazy. Like, no, I really feel like she was really going for the right people. So, I don't know, maybe it's just me. And it's not like she was just murdering, anybody. She was really just going for the bad people. After stabbing him, she gets her henchmen to hold him down, and she cuts out his eyeballs. Yeah. She cuts out his eyeballs and lets him get up and lets him try to escape. So, guys, we go further into that cat and mouse theme. When it comes to Satan's Affair and H.D. Carlton, she really loves, like, this whole Satan's Affair, Hunting Adeline, this whole theme is basically cat and mouse theme. Loving the thrill of the chase, you know? So, I feel like, I don't know if Sibby personally loves the thrill of the chase, but obviously she's letting him run just so she can get him. I feel like there's something significant in that. And maybe because she ran away, you know, I don't know. I feel like in Haunting Adeline, they really talk about how he enjoys the chase, but they don't really talk that much about it with her. So I don't know. So while she's letting him run, she's chasing him and she's like humming the Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, song, or humming it, singing it. So he's running and he's scared. I would be scared shitless. Obviously, Sibby ends up catching up to him and gets him, and the henchmen help drag him back to the room, and she just gets on top of him and just starts stabbing him. Stabbing. And she's on top of him, and while she's stabbing him, she has a orgasm. Yes, she has an orgasm while she's stabbing him. She's got a murderous kink. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Like, I obviously it's trauma based, obviously, and like she doesn't really get into the sexual trauma that she has for that cult, but it's obvious. It's obvious that it happened. It's obvious, you know, why she is the way she is. They just don't really get deep into it. And, she gets Cronus to catch him, basically, so that was the one who helped her catch him. She gets Morris to help get rid of the body, and it was Timothy to help mop up the mess and basically like help Sybil like mentally and physically. Just take care of her. Basically. This was like their routine that they had built for the last 5 years at this haunted house. So this is like something that they have done and been successful with for 5 years. And I feel like it works because they, you know, are going to different parts of the country. So, I mean, it makes sense. Also, while she's hunting these men, I want you guys to notice, like, she's getting encounters from humans, too. Like, that they think that she's just a part of the haunted house. They see a man running and they think he's a part of the haunted house. They see blood, haunted house. They don't assume that there's actual stuff going on besides the missing people, you know, that are coming up. Okay, so at this time, the Satan's Affair goes to Houston. And Sibby is, and I think this is about a couple weeks after the altercation, Sibby is kind of eavesdropping in one of her coworkers, Jennifer. And mind you, it's coworker, but it's not really her coworker. Like, these are just people that work there that, I mean, technically, yes, coworkers, but she doesn't actually work there. She hears one of her coworkers named Jennifer, she describes as this beautiful blonde girl, and she's crying and she's talking to one of her other coworkers saying that her boyfriend, whose name is Gary, had essentially raped her. He had sex with her when she was blackout drunk and begging him to stop, essentially. So Sibby overhears this and gets enraged. So they're nervous because they're like, I don't want him to come here. So like, okay, like obviously we'll watch after you. We'll make sure you're good. So Gary ends up showing up, and he comes in and he's just demanding to find Jennifer. So while he's demanding to find out where Jennifer is, Sibby gets a glimpse of her father in him, and she gets triggered, guys. She gets triggered, and she starts playing with him. So she starts singing Ring Around the Rosie. She loves these little lullabies, and I love that for her. Back to her father, and they do a night discussing, but her father, Leonard, calls it draining God's nectar from him. And I'm sure you guys, it is one of Sibby's things was she was supposed to help with that, basically. She was helping bring that, or I don't remember if it was she was supposed to do it or if she was refusing to help with the nightly routine. Tapped her hand with the fork. And Sibby, no reaction. And this goes to speak how long this abuse is going on for. Eat her food. Obviously, she's a kid, so she's crying, you know. And later on, she sees that her mom is gone for 8 days. So her mom is gone for 8 days, and she comes back and she's bruised and beaten, showing Sibby that she basically got the punishment for what Sibby had done. So this is the most. So she takes the knife, and her mother basically tells her that you're the only one strong enough to fight back, you know? You're the only one strong enough to handle him. And they go to sleep cuddling, you know, and for what it was for Sibby is she was just holding her mom all night, looking at her mom all night, but she didn't know that her mom was dead. Her mom had taken ricin before she came into the room and gave her the night, and she died. And that morning, Sibby did what she was supposed to do, and she killed her father. It doesn't get too much into how she killed him. Obviously, she stabbed that cult. And that's kind of like her backstory about her parents and, you know, where she comes from. So just so you know. So, okay. So yeah, she's escaped and she finds a home at this haunted house because she fits in. You know, she can be a scary person and not reap the repercussions for it. You know. Okay, so let's just get deeper into it. So we start off with Addie, or we start off with Sibby, and she's a man and stabbing him, and she's stabbing him with her favorite knife. Mentions that like the smell of rotten egg. So the smell of rotten egg, it basically is the evil people. She sniffs off like someone like me, you know. I'm good, but I'm a good person. And she was flowers and butterflies and you know, like just smelled good. You know, what you can think of that smells really good. And if she smelled like, you know, let's say a murderer, she would smell rotten eggs because she just internally has that smell-dar to her. But like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. And it's not like she was just murdering, you know, anybody. She was really just going for the bad people. But she was on top of him, straddling him. And while she... So she, after stabbing him, she gets her henchmen to hold him down, and she cuts out his eyeballs. Yeah. She cuts out his eyeballs and lets him get up and lets him try to escape. So guys, we go further into that cat and married H.D. Carlton. She really loves, like, this whole Sands Fair haunting Adeline really loves the girl to chase, but obviously she's letting him run just so she can get him. I feel like there's something significant in that. And maybe because she ran away, you know, I don't know. It doesn't really get deep into that. But yes, they really talk about how he enjoys the chase, but they don't really talk that much about it. But the Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, song, or humming it, singing it. And so he's running and he's scared. I would be scared shitless. And because of the humming, I'm assuming that's what she likes, the chase. She likes making the horror movie out of it, you know? So, obviously, Sibby ends up catching up to him, and she's on top of him, and while she's stabbing him, she has a orgasm. Yes, she has an orgasm while she's stabbing him. So, very significant. A murderous kink? I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Like, I obviously it's trauma-based, obviously. And, like, she doesn't really get into the sexual trauma that she has for that cult, but it's obvious. It's obvious, you know, why she is the way she is. They just don't really get deep into it, but that's all I can really give you guys when it comes to that. But yeah, she has an orgasm, and she gets her... who was it? So she gets her henchmen. She gets Cronus to catch him, basically. So that was the one who helped her catch him. She gets Timothy to help mop up the mess and basically like help Sybil like mentally and physically. Just take care of her, basically. It's like, what the fuck? So she finally gets a good hit on him. She gets a good punch on him, and he doesn't even feel it, and he just knocks her ass in the open. Punches her in the nose, breaks her nose, and she's bleeding. And he's like, I didn't want to hurt you, like, you were harassing me. And he leaves. She's like kind of trying to get herself together. She's like, what is happening? Like, oh my god, like, this hurts. Like, he really got me. And so she goes and chases him, and she finds him in the room with 4 of the older men. that smell of rotten eggs. And the wife is kind of just to the side because she's not really involved with it, you know. She's just kind of there, just being, honestly, she's being forced into it. And that's very clear to Zayd and to Sibby. So Zayd like basically just pulls her aside and he's like, hey, like, I know you want to fight me, but these men are really, really bad. They are pedos. They are disgusting. So she's like locked in, like, huh? They're what? Like, so she's seeing red at this time. She's like, they're pedos or a bed. That's all you have to say. Basically, he let her know that they share a common enemy. You know, like he's like, I'm not one of the bad guys. Like, I want to kill them too. So he's like, I need help. I can't get them all by myself. Basically thinking the same thing she was thinking. Like, I can't get all these men by myself. Like, I need help. They dispatch the men and they drag all their bodies into the walls. After they dispatch the men and bring them into the rooms, they say, all right, give me 30. Give me 30, right? Zayd goes, and y'all know, if y'all go to my other view, y'all know what he does. But he goes and finds Addie, and they do the little They do the little and he comes back. And Sibby, when he comes back, she's like, his face is like, you know, a little flushed, and his lips are a little swollen, and, you know, his hair looks a little fucked up, and his clothes look like they've been, you know, pulled. So she's like noting that, but she's like, hey, not my business, you know. And that's when they start to go to Mark and ask him like what he does. How Zayd gets Mark to admit what he did. He gets his fingernails and he pops off every fingernail for every time he lies until he told the truth. Oh, disgusting. Couldn't even imagine how that would feel, guys. So as Mark is explaining to Zayd what he does, Sibby gets angry. She starts going into rage, and Zayd's like, right, I'm gonna calm her down. So he goes to calm her down, and he basically says like Sibby, you know, like, calm down, I need to get information from them. And because Zayd called her Sibby her nickname, she felt like she had finally met, you know, a companion, a friend, someone like her, you know. And so she's like, okay, I guess he's worthy of not being killed. So she decides that she's not gonna kill him, like, period. So after Mark confesses, obviously, they go ahead and kill all four of them. They go to get rid of the body, and as they're getting rid of the body, they hear police officers. There's 3 police officers pulling in. So Zayd's like, all right, hurry up, let's go, you know. And Sibby's like, no, like, I can't leave my henchman. So he's like, huh? Henchman? Like, what? What are you talking about? So she's like, nah. So she leaves, and Zayd's like, all right, then. He's like, I gotta go. He feels bad, but he's like, I gotta go. I can't get caught up for this little girl. So she runs back into the haunted house and hides. And the henchman, Mortis, distracts the officer while Sibby goes and slashes the tire of one of the officer's car and takes the other officer's car and leaves with all her henchmen. Bane was the one driving, but she's like, he's driving really bad, and but obviously, you know, he's never been in a police pursuit, so she's like, I don't blame him, but like, he's driving really bad, and they are gaining on them. She's trying to fight it, but they end up getting in a car crash, and the car rolls 3 times. She's badly hurt. I mean, she has crushed ribs, punctured lung, like, she was messed up, and she's still screaming. She's screaming out for her henchmen, and they have to sedate her. Like, she's still alive, going crazy. After that, we kind of cut to a couple months later. So after months in the hospital, we come back to her, and she's at Willow Creek, which is a mental institute, basically. And she's seeing her doctor, Rosie. And in that facility, they put her on medication. So this whole time, I'm assuming the book kind of cuts off because she basically is deemed crazy and immediately gets medicated for her symptoms. And so I think that's why it kind of cuts it off, because then it would cut back to her and she's basically unmedicated again because she had stopped taking her medicine, because she said it was making her forget about her henchmen. It was making her forget about the people that she loved, and so she stopped taking her medication. She was visiting Dr. Susie, and Dr. Susie delivers some crazy news to Sibby and basically tells her that, and guys, this is the plot twist that really got me. I was like, what? That is so crazy. Guys, Sibby was imagining the whole thing. The henchmen were mannequins. They found mannequins with her DNA on it and sex toys with her DNA on it. So when she was having sex with her henchmen, when they were performing stuff on her, it was her using her sex toys. H.D. Carlton doing her big one every single time. We fucks with you, H.D. Carlton. We fucks with you. Because how do you think about this? Like, what? So she's like basically in denial about what she's being told. And she goes back, and a few weeks later, she goes back to see her psychiatrist again, and she sees one of her henchmen, Mortis. and Mortis is her bestie, and he's covered in blood. Well, she says red pants, but I'm assuming it's insinuating blood. I'm not sure. I'm assuming. Like, he's like behind the psychiatrist, and she's like looking, and the psychiatrist's like, obviously he's not there, you know. So she doesn't budge, but he's like, I know how to get us out of here, and he points at a pen that's in the psychiatrist's like pocket. And Sylvie starts standing up, and the psychiatrist's like, oh my good, and she's like, don't worry, like, it'll all be over soon. And that's how the book ends, guys. That's where it ends. I was like, oh my god. That's all I can say is what? That was a lot. This book was really good. It was a short but good read. Like, it was a really good read. I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. It honestly really got me into H. Carlton even more. And just into that whole dark romance genre. You guys let me know what you thought about this book, because it was a lot. Let me tell you what I did. When I first read it, I was just overwhelmed. But it was a really good read, you know. It was one of those ones that you couldn't put down. You kind of just had to read it, all of it, and just finish it in a day. Like, it was one of those books, you know. And it was just a lot. But when I sat down and just really thought about it, I was like, dang, like, mental illness, you know. Mental illness is a real thing. These things actually happen. And that is scary. That is a scary thing. This is why I say, like, when it comes to cults and just, like, even just trauma growing up, trauma from your past, trauma from your parents, like, when you get old, you really have to fight to get rid of that, to get rid of those urges, to get rid of that pain, that trauma, you know, like, because it can really eat you up, and it really can mess with your psyche. Like, it can actually affect you physically, and, like, everybody needs therapy, everybody needs help. There's nothing wrong with it, so just do it. That's my take, okay? That's my take. So I definitely recommend you guys give it a read yourself. I didn't even cover the tip of it. Like, give it a read yourself. Obviously, I covered all of it, but there's just things that you have to read yourself and just really get to know the book. It's a really intimate book, and I think that anybody who reads it would love it. Jenny said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely give me a like, you know. You want to let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you guys later.